Ian Bremmer, Eurasia Group president and CBS News senior global affairs contributor, is with us. Good morning. This G-20 summit going on in Argentina is a big deal. A lot of potential meetings that have now been scaled back. First, let's address the President Trump's potential meeting that was going to be with Vladimir Putin. I'd heard from the White House, well, that's up in the air. And then Trump comes out and says, oh, I've canceled the whole meeting. Yeah. Was it really about what Russia has done in Kiev, or is it about what's happening at home?
No, it's clearly what's happening at home. It's unprecedented in terms of level of domestic crisis that Trump is feeling, not only canceling that, but also canceling the formal meetings with the South Korean and Turkish leaders, both of which were going to go quite well. Now they're just informal pull-asides. He clearly needs the time to discuss something else that's more urgent. We all know what that is.
But isn't that playing into Russia's hands? Why not announce earlier this week, I'm not going to meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin after what they've done in Kiev?
Because it wasn't about Ukraine. If it was just about Ukraine, they can have that meeting. He can deliver a message around it. And Putin is one of the people he's comfortable with. Keep in mind, he hates all of these summits because he feels ganged up on. But this summit was set up better for Trump. Not only does he have a decent personal relationship with Putin, but also Erdogan, also Mohammed bin Salman. You now have the Italians. You have the Brazilians that have elected two leaders. They're in favor of Trump-style policy. He's got a bit of a team in place. It's not like last year's G20 where Putin was the only guy he wanted to talk to. So he should have felt good coming in, but the news back home is driving him insane.
By the way, this could be interpreted as an embarrassment for Vladimir Putin, right? Russia had acknowledged that this meeting would be taking place at a time and place that at least 2 hours is going to be put aside at 9:30 a.m. tomorrow. Right. So we'll see what happens with that, if in fact they do end up meeting just as a pull aside, but other meetings scheduled as well. Potentially a trade deal, maybe, with Chinese President Xi Jinping?
Yeah, we just had, of course, the signature between the Canadians, the Americans, and the Mexicans of this new NAFTA, the U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement. That is a win for President Trump. And then the biggest meeting of the entire summit, maybe more important than the summit itself, is President Trump and President Xi Jinping meeting on Saturday night, both a private bilateral and then a dinner. And this meeting has been overwhelmingly pre-baked to not be a disaster. The Chinese really want to have something that at least looks like a statement of principles, kind of like what you had between the North Koreans and the Americans, so that they can say, let's take a step back, let's take a breath. We know we don't love each other, but we want some time to ensure this doesn't become a full-blown trade war. That is possible, and the Chinese want it, but it is also possible that Trump says, you know what, I'm going to go ahead with these new tariffs coming in on January 1st. The markets aren't going to like that. There's a lot to play for. I feel quite confident that this meeting won't go badly, but it's not clear the Chinese are going to get what they want.
What's the likelihood that we see the president impose new tariffs next year?
You know, I think it's a little less than 50-50. The fact that Peter Navarro, the hardliner, has been reinserted into this meeting, he had been taken off, is a bad sign. The fact that Secretary of Treasury Mnuchin is the one that's been driving the bilateral relationship is a good sign. But let's keep in mind, the one thing that's really interesting, Trump beats on China all the time. He never goes after Xi Jinping personally. And his meeting in Mar-a-Lago that they had, that was the best meeting of his entire first year in terms of foreign policy. I see Trump as the kind of guy that when he gets in the room with the big guy, he wants to show that he can pull a rabbit out of the hat. So I tend to be a little bit more optimistic about this than I think most are right now.
He says he and Xi Jinping really get along and really like each other.
Yeah.
Ian, thank you so much.
See you guys.